Hi, I'm Danny Gasparini, and welcome to this segment of Penn Voice. I've got two awesome individuals here with me today, Sammi Riley and Mike Levinson. Sammi, welcome. Mike, welcome.
Thank you.
I have to tell our viewers that you are consumers, you're users of our Redi-Wheels system, and you both sit on the Paratransit Coordinating Council.
Right.
But today, you are enthusiastic consumers of Redi-Wheels. And one of the persons that you know, Marie Violet, and I do too, we just felt it was really important to tell our community about what you experience as a consumer and a user of Redi-Wheels, because we would like all those that qualify to be able to use such services that we have here in San Mateo County. So I'm going to start off by giving just a little definition. If anyone who's watching this program or sees this program thinks that they have difficulty with embarkation or de-embarkation from public transportation, we want you to encourage you to call Redi-Wheels and see if you qualify and get qualified to be a Redi-Wheels user. And if anyone doesn't have access to close proximity to public transportation, Redi-Wheels is something that can also help you get to public transportation. Do you think I said that well?
Yes.
Okay, so the main thing is we want people who, after seeing this program, who think they may be eligible users, to call the number that we will put up on the screen for Redi-Wheels to get pre-qualified. So now let's jump into the actual services that Redi-Wheels supplies. So Sammi, I'm going to start with you. How do you use Redi-Wheels, and how important has it been to your quality of life?
Well, I use Redi-Wheels almost daily. I'm involved in lots of volunteering for all kinds of organizations. And so I use Redi-Wheels to and from. Sometimes I even do 3 trips a day.
Wow.
And they are a real godsend for me. I don't know what I would do without them because I'm on my own.
Right. And how do you use them? You call a phone number?
Yes. You have to call at least a day, 1 to 7 days in advance to reserve your ride. You tell them the time. You can either tell them the time that you have an appointment. Say if I'm going to a doctor, I need to let them know my appointment is at 10 o'clock.
Right.
And then from there, based on where you live, they can determine what time they need to pick you up. Or if I go a lot to the doctor and I have had experience and know what the timing is, I can tell them the time I want them to pick me up.
Right.
So if my time is not at 10 o'clock with my doctor, usually I do at least an hour, hour and a half ahead, just in case they run late, because you have there's a 20-minute window between the time of your scheduled appointment and scheduled pickup.
Right.
And their arrival.
Right.
If they arrive, they can arrive within that 20-minute window. Right. So if my time is 9 o'clock, they have till 9:20. After 9:20, they're considered as late. So usually you'd wait maybe another 10 minutes or so. Then you can call dispatch to get an estimated time of the actual arrival.
So it sounds like you used the service quite a bit. So you've really got it down. It just takes some time to get used to, I would imagine.
Exactly.
And Mike, I want to jump into, you're also a user of Redi-Wheels, but I want to ask you a different question.
Okay.
I want to ask you a little bit of what you do with the Paratransit Coordinating Council. You're a volunteer.
Yes.
So what are the things that you discuss?
Well, we've been discussing basically service-oriented data. That's one thing we do at each of our monthly meetings, how much they're on time, just what Sammi was talking about before, how often they're late. Currently, they're in the low 90s in terms of on-time performance. And then we also discuss issues that come up with different riders, where we might get a complaint, which can be sent in, like through a comment card or a phone call or an email, where somebody had a bad experience. So we definitely look into those issues, because that's, I think, our primary function, is to oversee the system and advocate for the consumers when there's a problem with the system or a particular ride.
And both of you come today with different abilities. Mike, you're sight impaired.
Yes.
And obviously, Sammi, you do need your chair
Right.
to move around. So not only do the Redi-Wheels vehicles need to be equipped for people with different abilities, and but they also, the drivers need to have an understanding about your abilities as well. So, and Mike, is that something that you look at as well with the
Yes.
Paratransit Coordinating
In fact,
Council?
we're fairly unique in that area because we actually have the opportunity to give input when new vehicles are being purchased. So we can, for example, see if striping on the floor has high enough contrast for visually impaired passengers, or if grab bars are sufficiently, positioned for people in wheelchairs or people with walkers that have difficulty standing up once they sit down, and other issues that relate to different disabilities that Samtrans might not come up with on their own. They ask us to give input, and frequently we've had a lot of recognition for that nationally.
What a great thing to do is to, before any purchases have been made, to really ask the users what does that mean for them.
Sounds obvious.
Yeah, but right, the implication doesn't always happen that way, right,
No.
Mike? So, Sammi, what are some of the misconceptions? What are the myths out there that might follow someone who's thinking about using Redi-Wheels but says, oh no, they must be too late or it's too hard to use?
Well, number one, most people think just because you're 65 and older that you automatically qualify.
Right.
And you don't. The qualifications are, as Mike was mentioning earlier, depends on where you're located. If you live way up on a hill and you have some kind of a disability and you can't get down that hill to the transportation, then there's a possibility that you will qualify.
No matter what age you are.
No matter what age you
Mm-hmm.
are, right? That doesn't count. And the other thing is, most people also think that it is a private service, but it really isn't. It is a shared ride system. So many people get a little upset about having to stop and pick up another customer or consumer. It is a shared ride, so you will at times have to ride with someone else. That's the way the system is set up.
How wonderful. You get to meet someone new almost on a daily
All the
basis.
time.
You do. All the time. All the time.
One thing I want to add, just because I know there's a lot of people out there that are getting older in our county and everywhere else. We have people that qualify just because they might have asthma, they might have trouble negotiating things at night, and particularly people that have cognitive difficulties. And so all these different cases come up for different people, and you're also allowed to bring with you either a guest or a companion. And the companion, if they help you get to wherever you're going, rides for free. And a guest can be someone you're going out to dinner with or someone you're meeting, at a store, whatever it is, and they would pay the regular fare. So even though you may qualify for Redi-Wheels, you're still allowed to travel with people who are not if they're going on the same trip you are.
That makes great sense, and I'm glad you bought that. Many of us might have a caretaker or someone,
Yes.
or even a grandchild that we'd like to take out
All of those.
to lunch.
Yeah.
What about when you say a companion? What about a pet? If you have a companion or service dog?
Yes.
Well, that's a little more complicated, and I think policies have changed a little bit over the years. But generally, they go on good faith. If you say you have an animal that's,
Truly a service animal.
truly a service animal, whether it's, a dog or some other animal, they tend to take that at face value. But I guess there are some limitations if the animal
Sure.
isn't behaving or is somehow disruptive, but that's beyond our...
Probably just like any consumer. If you are not behaving or disruptive, they may not take you too.
Right, and we're not really involved in that. That's a legal question that Samtrans deals with.
And that's something that as a consumer you could certainly ask the Redi-Wheels
Oh, it
folks.
comes up at our meetings,
Right.
but it's kind of a case-by-case
Got it.
situation.
It is, yeah.
Well, and we just have about 30 seconds left, so I want to make sure that you talk about whether it's participating on the Paratransit Council, how do people give feedback, how can consumers help other consumers get involved in Redi-Wheels? What's the last conversation you want to make sure we know about?
Well, becoming joining the consumer court is it's just one of our things that we offer you 10 free rides if you fill out a form. You fill this form out, and what you're doing is you're evaluating your ride. Was your ride on time? When you went to make your reservations, was the reservation as professional?
Right.
Was your ride late? How late was it?
It's about 10 questions.
It's about 10 questions, and you fill this form out. After you've filled out 8 of these forms once a quarter,
Right.
then you will be given 10 free rides. It's a book, and each ride is $4.25. And so $42.50 is
Value.
the value.
And
yeah.
our main staff person is the only person who sees the answer.
Right, it's all confidential.
Doesn't go to Samtrans or anybody else.
Right, so great way to get really important feedback. Well, Mike and Sammi, I want to thank you so much for caring enough to be able to come to and tell our community about your experiences. I know that both of you are so involved with your community that if we didn't have you out writing about and getting to your appointments, we would be lost without your ability to be out there. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
for
for having
your
us.
volunteerism through this group, and thank you for telling us all about your experiences with Redi-Wheels.
Thank you.
And we'll see all of you next time on Penn Voice.